You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Sean Douglas. So, Sean, tell me a little bit about what you do professionally.
What I do professionally is work with entrepreneurs, speakers, and business owners to improve their positioning in the marketplace, which increases their profitability, decreases their anxiety and stress so that their business can thrive.
How did you get involved in doing something like this or even trying to pursue something like this?
Yeah, I was a drill instructor from 2009 to 2013, and I fell in love with speaking, training, mentoring. I was booked at high schools and colleges and spoke at different military functions. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the stage time. I fell in love with training people. I fell in love with all that stuff. And in 2014, I became a master resilience implementer for the Air Force, teaching resilience skills, and been doing it ever since.
So has this been like a passion of yours since you were kind of a kid, or did you just decide like you just kind of found it along the way? You found like you were really good at kind of giving people the tools or motivation to really get their ass in gear?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was building businesses when I was a kid. You know, I shoveled snow, raked leaves, mow lawns, plant flowers, odd jobs around people's houses. I mean, I was making money. You know, we were doing different card shows. We were fixed bikes. Anything I could do to make money. I worked at a stable once when I was in 7th grade. I was a mucker, which basically you shovel crap, horse manure. That's what you do. And any way I could make money, man, that's what I was doing. So I was always an entrepreneur. I've built 4 businesses so far in my life. And the speaking kind of came just because I fell in love with speaking and training. So it's just something that happened and I fell in love with it.
So what do you do? Like mostly now, what would you say, I guess your general base would be just kind of motivation, getting people moving into gear. Do you do normal talks, not just with entrepreneurs, but just average everyday people, like kind of like how me and you are having, but let's say like maybe like a kind of like a TED talk a little bit, but like informing people or trying to get them like, hey, you have the tools to get your life motivated and get moving. Why aren't you doing it?
For sure. Yeah, I actually have been on the TEDx stage. My TEDx talk has been viewed over 15,000 times. It's called Hack Your Brain for Success. Definitely have a TEDx talk. I speak on resilience, leadership, team building, and team performance and business positioning strategies. That's my 4 talks. And sometimes I do the motivational things at like a college. Sometimes I do things at, there's an event called One Life Fully Lived. Amazing event, amazing community. And talk about one life. Like you have to dream, plan, and live your best life. And how do you do that?
See, I found a fascination. Like, I mean, the reason I even started podcasting was like, we all have a story. We all share this earth together, but no one takes the willingness or time to even learn anything about ourselves. We get into a comfortable position where it's just work, go home, sleep, work, go home, sleep. And it's like, do you really want to be in your elderly age, maybe at the end of your years, and someone just asked you, how was life? And you were like, it was all right. No, I want to say I lived it. I want to say I got out there and got my ass in gear.
Right. Yeah. It was all right. I mean, it was all right. I mean, life was cool. You're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. We're on a giant floating rock through space with a million other or billions of other people on this earth. Yeah. There's nothing interesting really about it. But I think,
right. Yeah. That sucks.
think with a world that has an idea, like a perfect, shape for creativity, it's lacking because a lot of the stuff society has to kind of ploy out, that you have to be this billionaire, you have to be, Bill Gates's kid and Elon Musk type to get anywhere in society. I'm like, you could be the guy that creates glow in the dark socks, and next thing you know, you're making billions of dollars. It all just takes on when you have an idea to really spark the passion and drive to pursue it, which I feel like a lot of people just lack.
You know that do you know about the sock company? An entrepreneur, what's his name? Jason, Crazy Socks. John's Crazy Socks. You ever heard about that?
I've never heard about that.
John's Crazy Socks. Okay. This guy is 22 or 23. Been doing it for quite a few years now. And John's Crazy Socks, he is a 22 or 23-year-old Down syndrome guy. And him and his dad created John's Crazy Socks. And he puts like people's faces on the socks. He makes like Christmas socks, different themed ones. Like, this is what he does. And he sells socks and he's made millions of dollars.
So
Yeah.
have you had anybody with your business? Have you like promoted anybody famous or done anything that have really prospered from any words you've said? Like if I was somebody that was coming to you with an idea, I didn't know how to produce it out there, and how would you come on to helping me, or what are the tools you would say? You got to have like at least a little bit of a list to kind of go off a basis of, kind of like my questions a little bit here, but then once we start getting into stuff, it'll flow into something. So you adapt to that person, which you have to have good adaptive skills, especially if you're doing motivational speakers. I mean, you can't just walk up to a courtyard of college kids and be like, have this certain structure, the same thing you would have for the military. Because I guarantee you, half of those college kids, like myself, would just be like, this guy's telling me what to do.
Yeah, I love your question, man.
When you're motivationally speaking and you're helping entrepreneurs, there's going to be a lot of people that have success stories and a lot of people that have failure stories. Do you have more successes than failures, or do you not judge it upon that?
I'd say both, man. There's always people that I'll be coaching and they just, for whatever reason, didn't take the action I said, or they took it and they didn't get a certain result that they wanted, or it took a lot longer. We never look at the long term as a whole, a success. We start to break down like, well, I didn't get as many subscribers to my show, so it's a failure. Or, I didn't, this month I didn't get as much revenue as I wanted to, so that's a failure. I was on these many podcasts and I got no sales, so it must be a failure. But then you look at the macro, you look at the large picture, and it was just little stepping stones, but you became successful because of the consistent action that you've done. When I'm working with people, we take as large of action as we can. And, one of the people that I was working with, she did Airbnb, but she wasn't really fulfilled, kind of like, what do I do? And so she'd been through a lot of chronic pain, a lot of surgeries, out of hospitals and everything else. But that's it. That's what you do. You're going to provide Airbnb for people for cancer research or cancer treatment, or they need a specific house tailored to them because of a life-threatening illness or whatever. And so Holly's Homes was created. So we created Holly Homes based off of her Airbnbs. So now she Airbnbs, not to everybody, but to families because they're all near hospitals. And she secured houses near hospitals to do this. The family goes in and uses the home because sometimes that the family can't stay at the hospital with the child or whoever. So aunts and uncles and grandparents and cousins or whatever, they need a place to go. Instead of paying for a hotel, they can pay for an Airbnb. They get a house to house all of their family, and it's right next to the hospital. That's what got created out of a hour-long coaching call. So it's things like that I call a success that keep me going and make me love what I do.
Yeah, you're not looking at the money aspect of things. You're seeing the benefit not only to the person that is creating this business and seeing it literally unfold before their eyes, like turning into this creation, but like you can chalk it up to the same thing a musician does when they create a song. They're making an emotion or feeling or thought into a work of art. And then people are enjoying that and being able to see the reaction. You see it as you helped motivate somebody to get their life in a direction they feel comfortable with. So you basically change that person's life, whether it was
100%.
financially or whether it was motivationally. You get more of a passion from helping others and seeing their goals be complete, which is your goal, I'm guessing, in life. This is what you want to do for the rest of your life. So do you find like sometimes it's tasking to really even pull the motivation out of yourself to get going? Because I'm a pretty positive guy. I like to tell people they're all interesting. I mean, I kind of really
Right.
have to, considering I'm just going and inviting random people on here, because I'm like, we all have a story, but I've been in those dark times. I have had those moments where I think the world is crap. Hell, today, not even an hour before this podcast, I about 2 days ago, I had to get my right tire fixed because I hit a nail, and I was like, wow, this is just dumb luck. And the next thing I know, it's like a $300 tow truck charge, all this stuff to get just a brand new tire on my car and get it fixed last minute. Then an hour
Jeez.
before this podcast, my left one just ran over a nail after I got my right one fixed. I was like, well, this week's just really just trying to let me know that it's here and it's there. But I still find myself like, at the end of the day today, like, I'm still okay, but at the same time, like, I'm able to still do what I want to do, and that's be able to podcast with you on. We all got some, you obviously, but we all have something out there that when we start talking about it, we light up. We're there. We're like, know everything about it. Whether you want to be the best scuba diver or whatever, you want to be the guy that builds the best IKEA furniture. You have something in line. It doesn't matter if you suck at it. It doesn't matter if you have all these different things that could be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout history, there has been many creative minds, and probably unknown minds too, that have gone overlooked. Da Vinci was overlooked. I always bring it back to Da Vinci in my podcast because like that man was a genius, but he was seen as an idiot. I mean, hell, they put Galileo on house arrest in 1615 because he told everybody that the planet or all this whatever planets in the solar system don't revolve around the Earth. They all revolve around the sun. And the church was like, we can't have that. But it's the whole idea where there is creativity and there's an idea, there is a process to getting that kick started and getting it motivated. But a lot of people think like, oh, it's just another dumb idea. It's just something that's never going to make it in society. You don't know that. You're from Michigan. Am I correct? Yeah, you're from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a relatively small town, right?
I mean, I was born and raised in Detroit. But yeah, where my mom lives in Yale, which is 20 miles west of Port Huron, I think it's a town of like 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Well,
Something, yeah.
When you see a community or something that has a small number of population, more people are connected. More people get to know one another. Sally, your neighbor, Jim, all these people, and it creates a bond or a relationship. Believe it or not, we all have a social skill. We all have a meter that needs to be filled. It's like a love meter. We all need that. But I feel like in the world today, and it's affecting smaller communities, but like in larger areas where there seems to be the most crime, is because they're so crowded together that no one takes the time to talk to each other anymore, because we just look at the same person like a nameless face. Like, oh, that's not whoever, I don't know his name. That guy's he's the guy with the snapback. I'm like, excuse me, but that dude probably has lived an amazing life, and there might be a reason why he's pissed off. I mean, when I was at the mechanic getting my tire, like in the process of getting fixed, I was like, can you guys hurry up? Like, I got something to do. And then I stopped myself and I said, why am I going to take out my anger for life right now and project it onto them when I know this is going to pass? And all this is going to do is it's not affecting their day. They can make me sit there the whole entire time while I just sit there crying and complaining about my world. But there's no point in doing that. There's no point in looking back. And then the girl who's around my age, who was the front desk person, shout out to her, she was like, hey, it's $20, but I'm only gonna charge you $5. Just we plug your tire. Just come back in like a week, and we'll get your new tires in here. We'll get your car set up, and you'll be good to go. Okay, life's all right. We understand you got a hard week, and it happens. I'm in the same position. I'm like, there's those people. You think your life is so just everything happens to you, but it's not. It's happening to everyone, and it's in different terms. But you have an ability and something that makes you special, and it's calling you're an individual from that person. You might experience the same real world problems as that person, but no one puts that into perspective. Everyone's just like, hey, my life sucks, your life's great. Everybody's comparing so much that in a world where you're trying to motivate everybody to get moving, how do you stay focused in doing all that? I mean, you got to have your days where you're just like, I can't do this today because I don't even believe what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, man. I firmly believe that how you respond to everything that happens to you, and your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs driving all reactions, That's the telltale sign, man. How you react to everything that happened. You could have blown up and cursed the world and went into a downward spiral because of your tires, but just go get them fixed. Like, you can repair it. It's fine. And if you have discount tires, they'll fix the flat for free.
See, the whole thing, you have something that connects you to a wide variety of people. Okay. Now, name like 5 places you've traveled, at least different states or something that you've went to. You obviously have gone, or
All of them. There's a lot of states that there's probably less states that I haven't been to.
so you're seeing a wide variety of people.
Yeah.
Would you say that the places that are more crowded would experience something like a lack of creativity a little bit?
Not at all.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. If you go to a place like Austin, Texas, there is a ton of people there. Right? I mean, that's what you're saying, is a crowded place, a lot of people. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So in Austin, Texas, they have a saying called "Keep Austin Weird." It is one of the most creative places in the United States. It is where most of the underground indie music comes from, the underground indie arts. They podcast, like there's so many podcasters that live there. There's a huge network of podcasters that live there, musicians, artists, yoga people. I mean, there's just, and they say, keep podcasting weird, keep Austin weird, keep making art weird. Like it's the whole weird thing. And they come from all different backgrounds.
Well, Texas is weird in general. Did you know there's more tigers in all of Texas than there are in the wild of the world?
That's pretty crazy.
And that's just because there's no law saying they can't have tigers. So the next thing you know,
right,
Hank's got 30 tigers.
Right. I think what stumbles or stifles people's creativity is their lack of learning and their lack of open-mindedness. And you can find that everywhere. That's everywhere. In smaller towns, you could say that, if they're an agriculture town, if they're, whatever, they could stifle your creativity because we're a farming community. This is what we do. Like an Amish, like you're not getting any creativity out of the Amish because they are set in their ways. That is their beliefs. That is their whatever. However, they make the best furniture and the best barns, and their food is amazing. But they've been doing it for decades, and they've got their practices down, and they're experts. They're experts at what they do. But I think you can find creativity anywhere, and I think that you can find closed-minded people everywhere.
Who do
I
you
don't think they're segregated to one place?
Out of all the people you've motivated to get moving, like what are some people that you see like just are not even going to listen to you? Are those the people that you see that are the ones that aren't going to make it, aren't going to do it?
Are egotistical, closed-minded people.
Have you had one that like really has kind of like been your bad story? Could you explain that one?
Oh yeah. So I have created 4 businesses since 2004. 2 of them went to 6 figures, multiple 6 figures. Sold. My 3rd business is almost to 6 figures. Created it like 2 years ago or something like that. Didn't really put a lot of time into it at first, but been ramping it up the past year and a half, 2 years. Since 2017, really, or actually since January of 2018, really started crushing it. And then I just created my 4th business, which is my clothing line, and that's going to be to 6 figures very soon.
And what's your clothing line?
It's called LYB Clothing Inc. It's an affirmation and empowerment t-shirt company, which I call it a t-shirt company, but it's a clothing line because I'm going to have like yoga pants and hats and some different stuff. We started out as t-shirts first. So it's an affirmation and empowerment clothing line for entrepreneurs, speakers, and business owners. That's who it's for. It's going to be 6 figures soon. The person that I'm telling to do these certain things, and they hired me and paid me to do, tells me that doesn't sound right. What do you mean it doesn't sound right? I don't think that's what I should be doing. I'm like, well, why don't you think that? Well, I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. I'm like, well, unless you try it, you'll never know. But this is what I see. This is what needs to happen, all that. It's like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to be a millionaire. I'm like, well, you got to start small. You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Millionaires didn't wake up when they go, oh, look, I'm a millionaire. Like, it doesn't work that way. They had to put in the work, right?
Yeah, Jordan Belfort had to sell all those penny stocks and trick a bunch of people to make his millions.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, man, if you do this consistently, consistent action, always be consistent, always consistent action. And he's like, I don't know, man. I'll try it. A couple days later, he's like, it's not working. I'm like, it's only been like 2 days. It's only been 2 days. I see that your engagement has increased on your social media. I see that people are interested in working with you. You know, were they not interested before? Oh, they've always been interested. Okay, cool, got it. So try this, and keep going. Like a day later, he's like, this isn't working. I'm like, dude, you're not even giving it enough time. Give it like a week or two. He's like, no, it needs to happen now. I'm like, you're very impatient. He's like, well, I'm trying to be a millionaire, and you're not even a millionaire. Why am I listening to you? I'm sorry, are you making 6 figures, and have you built 4 businesses? Yeah. Well, good. Then do what the hell I'm telling you to do, or I'll give you your money back. He's like, just give me my money back. So I refunded him the whole money. I was like, whatever. So I don't know what he's doing. I haven't heard from them. I think he's probably still working at Walmart or something. I don't know what he's doing. It's like, if you're not going to listen, then you're not going to listen. Like,
I think this is just a problem because people see all the millionaires and all those people that are making like get rich quick magazines all over the place. And when you're experiencing that all the time, you're like, oh, okay, it's so simple. Then I should be able to do it in a matter of days. And they get an unrealistic expectation for when their business is going to succeed.
How do you know that I'm not a millionaire?
I don't. I have no clue. You could be a psycho killer, but I don't know. I can't. I got to talk to you, and that's what we're here to do.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. People see things. I call them Facebookpreneurs. All these Facebookpreneurs out here talking about how they got big businesses, and I'm a millionaire, and I'm flashing my money with my rented Lambos and jets and stuff.
Dollar
like
bills, y'all.
I know way more people, literally way more people, that are fronting on social media that they're this awesome entrepreneur when I know damn well they got a 9-to-5 job. I know damn well they're not doing what they say they're doing. But yeah, here they are like, oh yeah, I just got another client, like 50K, like what's up? I'm like, cool, you got a 50K client? What's that, like $5,000 a month for 10 months? Is that 50K through 12 months? It's not 50K for 1 month. Well, no, it's like $1,500 a month. I'm like, yeah, there you go. So you secured a 50K client who's going to pay you over a year's time. And it's like, $3,500 or whatever. Somebody's going to pay you $3,500 a month for the next year or so. So yeah, 50K, cool. If they last that long. Most people don't last that long. Most people last 5, 6, 7, 8 months and they're out.
Why is that? Just because
people give up. Because they get bored.
You think so? Giving up seems to be the major problem with, I guess, businesses going out. You don't think it happens to do with someone?
No, not businesses going out. That's something different. No, that's not. So what I'm talking about is I want to start a podcast. 10 episodes in, you start the pod fade. All the statistics say that about 10 episodes in, you start pod fading, which means that I don't want to do this. Instead of recording a show every Wednesday, I'm going to skip this Wednesday because I'd rather do something else. Then I'm going to record a couple more shows. Then I'm going to skip a couple weeks. Then I'm going to record one. Then I'm going to skip more. Then I'm not going to record any. And screw it, I'm done. And most of the shows end by like 20 shows because they're pod fade out. They lose interest. It's hard. You got to edit stuff. You got to battle like power outages and connectivity issues. Like, people's right like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this no more. This is stupid. I don't want to do this. And then they quit. There's 750,000 podcasts. Only 180 of them are actually active and recording and uploading shows.
Yeah, I'm about to actually reach my 100th episode here soon. That's going to complete season 1. The only reason
cool, man.
Introverts for so. I hated the world. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Everybody just kind of sucks. Now, my opinion is still kind of the same. People suck. It's just the fact. But I think we have an aspiration to become great. We have an ability to be awesome and chase down anything we want. But the fact is we don't do that because society, I think, plays a big part in this. And I kind of always talk about it in my podcast a little bit, or at least kind of hammer it down, because I'm so used to walking into the store and just nobody looking at anybody, nobody talking to anybody. And I'm walking in there nice and slow, just like, what's up? I'm like, how you doing? Hey, get
Right.
over here. Okay, yeah. There's the peas are right over there. Like, do you work here? No, no. I'm just here shopping. It's my day off. I'm just relaxing. And they're like, wow, like you're. And I've gone to this gym every single day and I have not missed a day for 7 years. And let me tell you, where people say, how do you continue to do it? It's hard. Okay. I have days I do not want to go. I have days like today where I experienced a car blowout and then I didn't even want to make it there, but I still went there anyway because I care, because I had something that marked me where I didn't want my life to be like how it was before, where I was oblivious to the problems and things that I was going through, that I was just neglecting and sucking my whole life into games. Then, that was years ago. And I grew from that. And I mean, people I see now at the gym, I'm like, what's up? And they're like, whoa. I'm like, what do you mean? Whoa. They're like, I've seen you come here every day for the past 7 years now. I have never heard you talk. I've never heard you say a thing. I kind of thought you were a punk teenager stoner kid. I was like, okay. And they're like, I'm like, thanks. I'm like, yeah, thank you for the compliment. But no, they're like, it's awesome to know that you're not that person and you're actually really, really nice. I'm like, yeah, I'm Robbie. Okay. You know me as Robbie. That's what, if you ask anybody after who have met me, how can you best explain me? It's by saying it's just Robbie. They're like, what's that mean? I'm like, you just gotta meet him. It's
Yeah.
That's what I like. And I think more people need to aspire to be like that. I'm not saying model your life after me, but in a place where voices are kind of shut out a little bit, and it seems like the only one that ever gets out there is the one that causes the most tension. Like, let's say Donald Trump, for example, not to get political, but talking about him, he does so many acts that are seen as a cry for attention or so outlandish. I'm like, he does that because he is a celebrity for a reason. He's doing that to help promote his business. You're still
Yep.
talking about him. It doesn't matter. We say
Yep.
good publicity. No, there's no bad publicity. There is bad publicity, but he uses it and turns it into something where it becomes this giant $1 million business that is going to keep on rising because you can't
Yep.
shut up about Trump. Everyone's talking about it. It's
Right.
ridiculous. But you can take that with anybody. You have a idea in front of you. Think of it as a pile of twigs. You're the caveman looking for the fire, about to start something. You got to be that. You got to have that motivation, that spark that gets that kick start going. And next thing you know, you're out there just inspiring the whole world. I've seen TED Talks. I've seen motivational speakings, and just in class and school, I see how these people try and adapt to their audience and connect to them in a way and stick around the kind of the same structure, but they believe what they're saying. And a lot of people there, you can tell, are the ones like that are just looking for compliments, looking for to be like, you have the power, you have the tools. And like, I do have the tools. That doesn't need to be said. You should already know that. But the fact is, the world we live in doesn't let you know that. Doesn't want you to know that. They try and keep it a little secret. They just want mindless people walking around. Now you
Right.
can link that to the government. You can link that to whatever. But I think the tragic thing is, we think the world is crap, and if we keep thinking this way, nobody is going to try and be great. Nobody's going to try and be that nice face. I've taken classes for psychology. I've taken things dealing with mental health disorders, which I'm very, very interested in, because just to seeing how people's brains work together and seeing what ignites, you could hit your head a certain way and get foreign accent syndrome, where you can speak a whole completely different, like you're from a whole different country. I'm like,
Right.
that's it's right here it's so close to us, but we don't understand it. We're so fascinated creating the next iPhone 30, iPhone 40. It's like, let's focus
Right.
a little bit on ourselves as people, because when we're able to tear down this foundation we have that is crap, our lives are going to improve. Okay, you're going to start feeling better. You're going to start being motivated more. You're not going to want to just sit down and sleep inside the house all day. Now, I sorry about the little bit of a rant, but it fuels me because I'm sitting there, even feeling it myself, like I'm flustered and can't breathe at times. And I don't know how anybody can just live like that for the rest of their lives and say they lived a successful one. it's just so struggling. I mean, did you start off just being like, I know you went into resistance training in the military, the Air Force,
Right.
and all of this, but you can't be talking to people like they're in the military, can you? Can you be giving them that structured talk, like screaming at them to get motivated? That might work for
Oh
some
no,
people,
man.
but
Yeah, you gotta definitely know what's going on with your audience. Yeah, definitely, man. You gotta know your audience and talk to them the way that they want to be talked to. Yeah, definitely, man. That has to happen.
do you have any childhood kind of, I guess like my story a little bit, like being kind of bullied, but do you have any type of things that really like kind of kept you down in a way, or have you experienced a lot of hard times that decided, like usually people that have the hardest stories or hardest lives turned out to be the wisest or have such a spark to get motivated because they've learned from their mistakes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, um, I was physically, emotionally, mentally abused as a child by my ex stepdad. Um, I put a gun in my mouth in 2008, tried to take my life. I was battling alcohol abuse and didn't really value myself. And it all stemmed from childhood. And there's a bunch of different things that I've overcome. I've been deployed many times. I was in Iraq in 2003 when all that stuff was happening. So there's a lot of things that I've had to overcome in my life. And there'll be a lot more things to overcome in my life. But it's just our response, man. What really matters is our response to those situations. The end. It's how we handle them and how we respond to them is what pushes us onto the next phase of our life, man.
Do you see it as more of like you're water and you got to flow around the problem, which is the rock,
100%.
if you can't get through
That's
it?
what Bruce Lee said. Yeah, Bruce Lee said you got to be like water. You got to flow, you got to bend, you got to go up, down, around, underneath, whatever you got to do to make it happen. You either make it happen or you make excuses why it didn't happen. That's the only two routes. You either make it happen or you make excuses on why it didn't happen.
How'd you become this such a positive person after 2008 where you put a gun in your mouth? Like, how did that
I
even
be-
come to be?
Yeah, I became a drill instructor. After all that depression and all that stuff that happened, I got mental health counseling. I learned resilience. I learned, I was talking to chaplains. I went to alcohol dependency, classes and all that. And I battled back, man. I knew that I knew where I didn't want to be. I knew who I didn't want to be. And so I'm chasing my better self. I'm chasing people who are where I want to be in life. That's who I'm chasing. And I was a drill instructor for Air Force basic training. And so I embodied that excellence in everything we do. Excellence in all we do. 100% every single time. Execute at 100% of your ability. Most people want to get 50 or you ever heard marriage is like marriage is a two-way street. Marriage is 50-50. Marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is 100%.
On
If
both
you're
sides.
giving half and they're giving half, then you're only meeting in the middle. You're not going all the way. Right? So it's 100%. And so everything that I do is at 100%. I give everything I have of myself to the present moment. And I learn how to do that by being a drill instructor and embodying that excellence in everything that we do.
How do you? It boggles my mind how like you hear words like what you're saying, and it's kind of around the same basis I'm hitting with just getting your ass in gear and like believing life doesn't suck. But how do you, when you work for being a host of Life Transformation Radio, how do you try and voice that out there? Like, do you feel like anybody ever really listens to what you say?
I'll never know. My hope is that they do. Yeah. But I mean, I'll never know.
Because like what's similar with my podcast is someone just takes this story, decides, hey, it inspired them to get them moving, then that's good for them. But if they don't decide to listen to it, then that's fine. Wasn't meant for you. But there's stories, there's experiences where people will relate to you and put this thing, you being able to relate to going through severe depression, dealing with alcohol and having these types of things. A lot of people might see it as, oh, why would I follow your life when your life was crap? Okay.
Right.
And it would walk away. And then you see those people or more of your audience is going to be like, wow, he's been through some shit. I can relate to that because I'm going through that now. And if he can pull his life out, I can pull my life out. You're basically giving the people tools to success in a way. Now, dealing with your TED Talks, can you explain to me a little bit of what your TED Talks are about and kind of go into like what you kind of do with your TED Talks?
Yeah, my TEDx talk was hacking your brain for success. I delivered it at TEDx Wilmington in Delaware in 2017.
That's one state away
And
from me.
there you go. So, hacking your brain for success talked about fact based positive psychology research studies that were used to determine that if you have a daily habit, if you are consistent in taking action, if you block out the negativity by accepting the things that go wrong, you accepted the fact that your tires had gotten nails in them. You didn't stand there and you didn't dwell on it, and then you didn't take, like inaction held you back, and you him and hawed and cried and whatever else. You knew that you needed to get those nails out of the tire and get back on the road, so you took action. Most people have a breakup, they lose a friend, they get fired, whatever, they go into a depression and they just stay in bed. That is not a formula for success.
That's not sustainable. You can't do that.
That's destruction. So my TEDx talk was using fact-based positive psychology from your brain in order to rewire your brain's central nervous system to become successful. You become successful by instituting daily habits. You become successful by employing acceptance. You become successful by the actions that you take each and every day.
Do you now? You're telling people to believe that they have to have the belief that they have that in them in the first place. But a lot of people feel like they don't. Do you think a lot of people are at your meetings and all these types of motivational speakings you do? Do you feel like they're on the edge, or do you feel like they've already kind of lost hope and you're trying to regain that hope?
It just varies. I mean, somebody can believe that they're not a success, but everybody has the potential. That's the starting line. Everybody has a potential. It's up to you to take action to make it a reality, or make excuses on why it hasn't happened for you.
Do you see any like future, production you want to do besides just your company with the clothing line? Do you see any types of things where you want to maybe pick up and mentor a couple of people and try and get, your thoughts through them, kind of carry it on in your type of way? Or do you feel like,
Oh, I definitely coach people all the time. Yeah, all the time I'm coaching people. I'm coaching entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, and positioning them correctly in the marketplace, because most of them aren't positioned. That's why they fail. That's why a lot of businesses fail. It's not market conditions. Market conditions are excellent right now. It isn't capital. There's a lot of money flowing around Silicon Valley. There's a lot of VCs throwing some money out. There's a lot of startups that are starting up right now. Market conditions are great. Capital is great. It's because the business isn't positioned in the marketplace correctly. You want to do something, but that's not how the marketplace receives you. The market never lies.
the market never lies?
The market never lies.
Do you think that more people look at what's highlighted a lot when it comes to the not success stories, which seems to be the majority, is the people that don't make it? Do you think they look at that and they think they're going to be another statistic?
Yeah, because our brains are wired for safety. Anytime a failure happens, your brain says, nope, I don't want to do that. I don't want to fail. Your brain is wired for survival, and it is wired for safety. If something dies or fails or goes away or whatever, your brain's like, that's not going to be me. I don't want to do that. So they're not even going to try.
I mean, I'm just fascinated because, a lot of people can't even motivate themselves to get out the door, and
Right.
you're able to motivate people to even try and get their life together.
100%.
And when you're looking at everything you've done, from being, let's say, an NCO at the United States Air Force, I'm just reading a little bit off your Facebook, but founder at LYB Clothing, international radio show host at Life Transformation Radio, founder, professional speaker, and trainer at the Success Corps, master resilience trainer, performance expert at Seymour Johnson AFB, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And they're all instructing, they're all motivational, they're all speaking positions. A lot of people have a voice and have a talent, but they don't want to help others. Do you think that is a problem that as the world we need to fix, or do you think a problem that that person needs to fix? Because in my mind, I think a lot of what comes is from society's standards of things.
Did you know that in certain countries, in Norway or like in Belgium, there's a couple of different countries, a couple of different cities, that a lot of it's based on an honor system. You would never be able to do that in the United States.
Yeah, you couldn't have an honor system here.
There's a lot of selfish people.
Exactly. And I've podcasted with people from Romania, from Bulgaria, who have come to my work. I work at a hotel during the day, and they come here as students just looking to experience a whole new life, work 2 jobs, kind of be miserable, and then the last month get real lazy and spend all their money and go travel. And I'm talking to them, and nobody's learning their names correctly. Everyone's giving them nicknames, like their pet names. I had one dude, everyone was calling this one guy Spike because of his hair. And he was telling, like, I got to know him on to a personal level. I know all of them personally. I know every experience they've had. I know stories that they've had a few of them on my podcast. And they all were like, you were different. I was like, how was I different? And they said, you cared. And I said, what, just taking 5 minutes to learn how to say your name, Christo, correctly? And this is just what's happening on in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, because you're not giving me a dog's name. You're not calling me Spike because of my hair. Everyone looks at us and just sees us as another face. But no, you take the time to download Google Translate onto your phone and then actually tell us to write down words for you to learn. Now, a lot of them teach me the dirty words, which I like to
I love it.
kind of be able to say, and no one knows your understanding. But I'm used to being a minority. Okay. I have, yes, my skin is white, but I work with all Latino housekeepers. I get spoken to in different languages. I don't understand what they're saying. I hear my name pop up in a long, ranting, angry thing. And I'm like, I did something wrong. I did something wrong. I know I did, because you can't disguise Robbie in Spanish. I just heard a paragraph that sounded like someone was yelling at somebody, that I heard my name pop up. I was like, all right, I did something. But I see the connectivity. After 3 years of working at this hotel, I have broken through a major barrier, not only in my life when it comes to wanting to be the minority anywhere I go now. I've noticed that, being white, it's a lot of what people say white privilege. I've seen that. I've seen what it feels like to be like an outsider, and not to dive into race a whole lot, but we're all just people. We're all here experiencing something, have thoughts and stories. I've tried to get so many of these housekeepers on my podcast. I've had a few. Well, one was a professional women's champion arm wrestler. One's just was happy that she could find. Yeah, I know, professional women's champion arm. I always go back to her.
That's awesome.
I'm like, you don't understand how awesome that is. She's like, it's just something I wanted to do. I was like, yeah, but that's like a kid tells a parent, and the parent's like, go to school, you moron, and get that going. But she decided she wanted to chase it down. She did it. I've talked to people that have experienced a life that they just wanted to be a mother or a father, and they've been able to create a healthy environment for not only themselves, but create a sustainable living. And they're like, I'm happy where I'm at. I've lived a life. I was there when Martin Luther King got shot. I was there when this guy was going off about all these KKK movements that were happening outside of his own house. And, he's a colored chef at my work. I'm like, dude, get on my podcast. You have so much information. He's like, I'm not that important. I'm like, but you are. From the person that is sitting on the side of the street doing nothing with their life, could have a million tales. One of the cooks at my work died 3 times, and he was the nicest person I have ever met in my entire life. He was a firefighter during 9/11. He was in the military, got shot, bullet hit the side of his brain. His name's Billy. I mean, he had so much of a story to tell, and he was always willing to help me and get motivated. I remember it was my first semester in school, and he was like, look, man, let me tell you, you got to stick with it. You got to get your life together. I'm not going to be here long. Plan on traveling the world. One of my dreams is just go bring a tent, go camp out in the mountains somewhere. I would love to go see the Grand Canyon and just be able to sit by a fireside. I haven't seen him in years. I hope that's what he's doing. I hope he's accomplishing that. He had all his belongings in the back of his car. He did not truly care about anything. He was just so happy and so willing to help. And I'm a clean eater. Okay. I try and eat fish and all these things. Now at my work, they serve free lunch, but it's not healthy options that I would want to consume. I'd rather like, I'll just wait till I get home. And he would come over with a plate of salad and some like tuna and be like, here you go, man. Like, you got to eat, bro. Like, we're all here. And seeing that, and then kind of not even paying attention to it in the moment it was happening. And now looking back on it, I'm like, there's a people out there that experience seems like the most trauma, seem to be the most beneficial to others, be able to give them an experience like, hey, okay, you didn't get your Starbucks Frappuccino Unicorn Spritz. I'm sorry, but you're alive, you're breathing, you have a family to go back to, someone that cares about you.
Wow.
And do you think that a lot of like the small stuff that gets people down, you're telling them not to sweat it? Do you think they focus on that because that's the biggest thing going on in their lives because they're just not motivated in anything else?
That's a tough one, man. There's a lot of reasons why people don't take action. There's a lot of reasons why people do what they do. They think they're on the right path. They're not on the right path. They got screwed over by a coach. So they don't want to hire a coach anymore. And, we're all on these different journeys. All of us are on these different journeys. But what matters is what you do in the moment and then leverages the moment to create more moments.
Do you think saying that could turn somebody into being a little bit more self-involved or
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
I think a lot of problem
Moment to
is
moment, man. Moment to moment.
I think a lot of what people do when they hear advice, like you probably experience a lot with giving your speeches and stuff, is you're trying to get them motivated and they become very, very self-involved, self-influenced. And that can be good, but the world kind of already pushes people to be all about themselves a little bit. I feel like everywhere I go, there's always someone looking down on somebody else. We're constantly comparing. I swear everywhere I go, it's, hey, pull out the ruler. Let's see whose is bigger. I'm like, why are we doing this? Why can't we just clock in, clock out, go home and have fun? Like, we're all doing the same thing together. It doesn't make sense to see someone's hours, see someone's how much work they have for that day compared to the other person, but everyone's judging all the time. And it boggles my mind how we can just be so consumed with the other person is about at that moment and then not care about them later. I'm like, if you want to sit there and compare stuff, like, why don't you compare like who's had the crappier life? Okay, your life's more crappy. Why is it? Let's learn how to maybe help you fix your life so then I'm the winner. Or, you take it in whatever way you want to. But how can you, I guess, talk to these people, get them influenced into their lives and get them to see that they're not crap, they're not anything like this? Do you feel like sometimes you tell those people this and they kind of push others down to get to where they want? Because a lot of people with business success stories, they step on the throats of others to get where they need to go. They all believe about, survival of the fittest. I'm like, what?
There's two ways to build the biggest business in the world. Build your business and then tear down everyone around you so that you're the only one left standing. Or build your business and then build up other people around you and you all go at the same time. Jim Rohn said that a rising tide lifts all ships, not just particular ones. A rising tide will lift all the ships in the harbor, meaning that if you are rising, bring other people with you and they will help you succeed. So you have a choice. If you want to build the biggest business, you can build your business and then tear down other people around you so that you're the biggest, or you can build a big business by keeping everybody up, building everybody around you, building relationships and, whatever, based on referrals, based on joint ventures and collaborations. And I believe in collaboration over competition. Competition is healthy, but I believe in collaboration over competition.
And I appreciate that because you even being able to sit down and talk to me for an hour, and not only talk to me for an hour, not the first, not even 10 minutes we were talking, my power went out, and then I had to experience this whole thing. Somebody easily would have been like, all right, bro. And then would not have messaged me back, would not have been like, I don't want to podcast again. They would be like, sorry, you missed your chance and opportunity. I mean, you don't know how many emails I've gotten where there are people just like, look, I'm going to be on for 20 minutes. I'm going to sell this product. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to plug, we can say whatever you want to, but I'm going to plug this, plug that. I've had people on here that lied to me saying like they were just in it for the conversation, and they sit there and just give me every single ad, every single t-shirt brand, every single thing on their podcast. And you haven't done that. You have literally talked to me like I am my own individual person. And I really want to give you a shout out and say thank you for everything you're doing. Because I mean, my podcast isn't the popular one out there. It could stop right here or it can keep on going. I plan on making countless more videos because I don't just do it for people out there. I don't care if I get a like. I don't care if I get a dislike. I do it for me, because right now you just told me the history of Sean Douglas. You just told me what's going on in your venture right now. Mm-hmm. And it's going to keep continuing as far as you want. As long as you keep writing in that book, it's going to keep going and growing in any direction you want to take it. And I don't mean to turn it into a motivational speak towards you, but
man.
It probably
it's a good way to end the show, man. It's a great way to end it.
It probably feels awkward that someone's motivating you instead of you motivating somebody else.
I'm pumped, man. Any conversation I can have with somebody, because you never know the one thing you might say or the one thing that you might do that will change a life or save a life. I was teaching some resilience classes, and one guy goes, man, I needed this. I really was thinking about going home and taking my life today. I was really thinking about killing myself. I was like, I'm really glad you're not going to. He's like, I think I'm going to be okay. I needed this. I'm like, that's awesome. We hugged it out like two dudes, and we pressed on with pride, man. The guy's still crushing it. Guy's doing really well. So you never know the one thing you might say or the one thing that you might do that may change someone's life. So why waste the opportunity?
Yeah. I mean, my whole foundation for my podcast was built on top of a friend calling me at 2:00 in the morning on top of his roof drunk saying he's about to jump. And he had nobody picked up the phone. All the people he thought were friends never picked up the phone. I hadn't talked to this kid in 4 or 5 years. I just remember him from high school, and then he just called me up and was like, hey man, like, I know we haven't talked in forever, but I really I saw a real person. And he just started talking to me. I was like, dude, actually, 3 hours into the conversation, I'm like, look, man, I can't give you the tools or the key to drive your car. You got to drive it yourself, man. I can point you in a direction like a GPS can, but at the end all, you kind of got to turn the radio down like we all do when we're trying to find a house or find something. And you just got to say, I got to figure this out myself sometimes, because the world's only what you make it. The world's only going to be there for as long as you are on this, at least in your concept of reality. It's only going to be there for you until you're gone. The world's going to keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, but your life's going to end. You have an expiration date. Don't you want to say you lived a life instead of sat there in front of the TV, played video games, and you couldn't spout out a single memory? I mean, how many times do you sit down and actually have a family dinner anymore? That's being more eliminated in the world today than anything. Kids are, parents are struggling to feed their kids. Parents are struggling to work multiple jobs just to be able to survive in a world where there's already a system of trying to destroy you. Why would you want to boost that by destroying one another? And like I said, awesome. Sean, I appreciate you being on my podcast, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I would like,
absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
I would like if anybody out there could, or, you want to plug some of your stuff so people can follow you and maybe get some more motivation in their lives.
Yeah. Just go to my website, The Success Core, spelled CORPS, thesuccesscore.com.
Bam. Short, sour, and to the point. All right. Thanks again, Sean.
There you go, man. All right, man. Thanks for having me.